Good evening, everyone, especially to you, ma'am. I am Rhea Jamaica Esperasaurus, and for my report, I'm going to continue about our topic, lesson plan. As we all know, lesson plan is a teacher's plan for teaching a lesson in class, and it is their guide for them to run their lesson or particular lesson smoothly, as its purpose is to outline the program for a single lesson. That is why it is called a lesson plan. As what I've said earlier, my report is a continuation, especially for Regis' report, as he tackled about first the objectives of lesson plan, second is the content standard of the lesson plan, third is the learning resources of the lesson plan. Now for the fourth one, we have the procedures, the fifth one, the assignment, sixth, concluding activity, seventh is the remarks, and lastly, eighth is the reflection. Now let's go on to the procedures. There are 6 steps in making a procedures for a lesson plan for teacher to be guided of how they will start and finish the lesson. Now let's go on to the first one, which is the introductory activity. This part introduces the lesson content. It is usually included to serve as a warm-up activity to give learners zest for incoming an idea about what is to follow. For example, asking questions, showing pictures, telling a story, bringing a real objects. This introductory part will give your students a few ideas of what you are going to discuss and what would be your topic all about. Second is the activity. This is the interactive strategy to elicit learners' prior learning experience. It is served as a springboard for a new learning. For example, a game or what's the word or scramble words. The words that you use in scramble words will be the key points or key words for your discussion afterwards or your proper lesson. Now for the third one, analysis. Essential questions are included to serve as a guide for the teacher in clarifying key understanding about the topic at hand. Addresses the lesson effectiveness. To what extent did the student meet the objectives stated in your lesson plan? In this part, as you already discussed the main topic, you will encourage them to read the presentation that you've shown to them, and afterwards, you will test them or question them if they really understand and to see if your lesson is effective. Next is the abstraction. This outlines the key concepts, important skills that should be enhanced, and the proper attitude that should be emphasized. It summarizes the topic through identifying the key concept with the help of your students, as you will ask them again of what you discussed earlier, and for you to be satisfied if you accomplish the objectives for that specific lesson. Next, we have the application. This is part structured to ensure the commitment of the learners to do something to apply their new own environment. Example, provide group activities to test their learning about the topic as if they really did learn the lesson that you teach earlier. Lastly, we have the assessment. Assess whether learning objectives have been met for a specified duration, remediate and or enrich with appropriate examples, strategies as needed. Examples, strategies as needed. Evaluate whether learning intentions and success criteria have been met. There are 4 assessment methods that you can use in evaluating your students. First, we have the observation. It is a formal and informal observation of the learner's performance or behaviors are recorded based on assessment criteria. The possible activities in this assessment method is like role play, oral presentation, dance, musical, performance, etc. Now we have the second one, the talking to learners or conferencing. Teachers talk to and question learners about their learning to gain insights and their understanding about to process and clarify their thinking. The possible activities for talking and to learners is hands-on math activities, written works or essays, picture analysis, etc. Now we have the third one, analysis of learners' product. Teachers judge the quality of product produced by learners according to agreed criteria. So possible activities for analysis of learner's product is a worksheet for all students. Essay, you will read all the what the students have written, concept maps, graphic organizer, project model, and etc. Now for the last one for assessment method is test. This is the most common thing that every teacher use for them to be able to observe or evaluate their students. So teachers set tests or quizzes to determine learners' ability to demonstrate mastery of a skill. The possible activities for test is skill performance test, open-ended questions, practicum pen and paper test, and oral test or quiz. Now that we're done with procedures, let's move on to the fifth one, which is the assignment. Assignment should be related to the day's topic. The assignment should allow learners to master what was learned during the lesson or reinforce what has been taught. Teachers must check assignments promptly. For what I've searched, assignment and homework is different things. Like assignment is like kind of a test that the teachers should check promptly, and then homework is the task that they will give to us to bring at home and to answer it. It's just that we normally use the word assignment for a homework task. Next, we have the concluding activity. This is usually a brief but effective closing activity, such as a strong connotation or quote, a short song, an anecdote, parable, or a letter that inspires the learners to do something to practice their new learning. Its purpose is to leave something for your learners in their mind, for them to easily remember the topic even if they are not in school. Now we have the remarks. The part of DLP in which teachers shall document specific instances that result in connotation of lessons to the following day in case of reteaching, insufficient time, transfer of lessons to the following as a result of suspension. Documentation is necessary specifically for learners' score for the different activities, as it will help the teacher to identify whether she or he needs to reteach the lesson, and also if ever that there will be not enough time for the whole lesson to be finished, and for transfer of lesson to the following as a result of suspension. Last one, we have the reflection. This one, the part of DLP should be filled out right after delivery of the lesson. Teachers are encouraged to think about their lessons, particularly the parts that went well and the parts that were weak, and write about it briefly. This part is also where teachers can share their thoughts and feelings about their lessons, including things about their lesson that will successfully implemented, need improvement, or could be adjusted in the future. So that would be all. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned something from this unit, which is the Unit 4.